Welcome to the third episode of, what are we calling this?
This is the Movie Jesus Saga.
Movie Jesus Saga, movie /movie review, because we want to do more than just these three movies, right?
In the future.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun idea.
This is the first one that we've watched that is not heretical, just absolutely heretical. So this is the Passion of Jesus Christ.
The Passion of the Christ. The Christ.
The Passion of the Christ
there
by Mel Gibson, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mel
cool.
Gibson.
I got that right.
It's just
we watched it a bit ago, so hopefully we remember enough.
Like a whole week.
But like, if I've read the Gospels, and it's kind of the same thing because this movie wasn't heretical. I remember liking every second of it, so I think it was fairly accurate in the way that it portrayed most things. Obviously, there's like setting and how things looked. Like that's all to be interpreted. Whatever, it doesn't really matter, you know. But yeah. So it's not like we're like watching a camera. Anyways.
I can tell you, I didn't get mad this time at all. It was such a wonderful experience. I almost cried. I'm pretty sure. Excuse me. I cracked a Monster.
Yeah, you stole that, right?
I almost stole it. The Washingtonian in me. I ran into the store, grabbed it, went, oh, fuck. And then I ran back in and I bought it. My bad. Anyway, I almost cried. I think I pretty much did cry. I was choking up. For the movie, not because I stole the monster, but from the movie.
You're just sitting in there in your car with a stolen monster. It just starts bawling.
I haven't left the parking lot. I'm just.
I'm such a bad man. You're a criminal, dude.
I feel like I could force myself to cry.
Is there a fly in here? I felt something laying on my bald head. I did not like that.
Oh shit! Did you save?
Yeah, a few hours ago actually.
Nice.
Took the razor once over. Bam.
It looks flatter than it did before. Did you trim a little bit?
I've been wearing a headset.
The trapezoid shall never fade.
No.
Dude looks pentagonal on the top. It's awesome.
Isn't it cool?
Polygonal.
Whoa.
Polygonal.
What is that supposed to mean?
Polygonal. Polygonal.
Oh, I thought you were going for something like polygamous.
Nope. Whoa.
I don't know what that would mean or how that would correlate at all, but...
Do you remember from Tires when...
No.
No? All right. That's fine.
I don't know. I might. Yeah, keep going.
When the WAPs were like that, the guy was like making the presentation like for the bikini car wash. He said, I can make their breasts bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He was like, I can make Will more Jewish. And it makes his nose
Increases
bigger.
his nose size.
And then the WAPs are like,
yeah.
And then he makes the, he says, I can make the girls more Jewish too. And the guys are like, no. So
back
cut
to
that it's fine.
Why? Well, it's a perfect segue back into Jesus Christ, the Passion. Whatever we call it. I'm gonna just call it the Passion.
Yeah.
Because they're Jewish. Jesus was a Jew, right?
Yeah. The most Jewish man ever. Mm-hmm. Some people have said that he's a Christian, but that's just not how that works. He's Jewish.
Yeah. How could he have been a Christian?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he was a Christian in the sense of believing in that he was the only way, the way, the life, and the truth, or however you say it. I think I switched some words around there.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. But,
he was the way, the truth, life.
So then he's a Christian, I guess, because he's like, Christ is it.
Jesus was not a Christian.
Yeah, he's a Jew for sure. But he didn't. Was he living out the old law? He fulfilled the old law.
That's the thing about the law that has always been interesting to me, because people always comment on how, like they always say the old law doesn't mean anything anymore. Like they say that, like it doesn't matter anymore, that it's like it's been done away with. But Jesus says specifically, I'm not here to abolish the law. I'm here to fulfill it. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's more of I don't think we are under the old covenant. I think we are under the new covenant, Like, I don't think we need to go out and sacrifice for our sins.
Right? We are adopted into the I
think there's a difference between abolishing and fulfilling. He fulfilled the old law, making it so it's no longer needed. Rather than it being incorrect and needing to be abolished and changed. For God doesn't change.
Right. The point is those were covenants made with the Israelites and the Jews, right? As followers of Christ, we're adopted into that lineage. We're adopted into it. Into the line of Abraham.
Right.
Which means that technically we would be governed by it. Which is why all of the laws of, like, all the, oh my
Levitical
gosh,
laws?
I can't focus.
Levitical laws? I'm trying to help.
Yes. So there are
Abrahamic?
No, there's specific subsects of the Levitical laws. That is the traditional, ritual. There's like food-related laws, ritualistic. Then there's the, I think, moral laws, I think is the word. Moral. So the actual ones that are pertaining to when Jesus says, go and sin no more, right? So all of the... I feel like no one has been able to pinpoint what Jesus means by fulfill the law.
I think so.
No.
I can try and explain it. My grandma was just explaining it to me. She just led like a Bible study when I was over there visiting family. She was going into the Pharisees and what they were doing and what they were wearing and all that. She kind of went into it, I guess. It was really cool. And now Jesus Christ is the fulfillment. It's meaning like he fulfills all the prophecy. He fulfills the ultimate sacrifice so then we no longer need it. Because the old law was to basically...
It was to keep the Israelites safe.
It was also to what's the word? Shadow what was to come. That's a wrong way of saying it. There's definitely a better word for that. Foreshadow Jesus Christ and what he was going to do for us. Hi, Kip.
Hi, Kip.
So in that way, then, it's like Old Testament people, right? What?
What's up?
It's like Old Testament people wouldn't have gone to heaven after death because Jesus Christ didn't die on the cross yet. He didn't take their sins. There would have been no sins forgiven yet. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So in the same way, then, like they wouldn't have gone to heaven yet. They would have gone down to Sheol or however you say it. And then after Jesus Christ dies on the cross, they would have risen, gone to heaven or whatever. Or maybe they're even the people that, in Revelation, it talks about how the dead rises first, then the living meet them in the sky during the second coming. There's a lot to that.
I do actually remember I was watching The Chosen. I didn't realize there were a sect of Pharisees that didn't believe in an afterlife. Like
what?
Like a sect of Pharisees. I think it was the Sadducees that don't believe in the afterlife. As in no life after heaven.
They just cease to exist, you're saying? Like they're just old-time atheists?
Or I think rather it's probably just hell or something afterward. I don't know, but they...
Well, how it works is there's Sheol and then there's also hell, which is a temporary place.
Hell is...
Or then after Judgment Day, then there's the eternal lake of fire.
Hell is, I believe, a colloquialism made out of Hades or Sheol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So hell isn't directly... That word is not used in the direct translation. We kind of just applied that word ourselves. Right.
So I think the idea of it being fulfilled is like the old law could not save us. But Jesus Christ on the cross with the new covenant can. He's freeing us from that old law that it wasn't faulty as much as it just could never do what Jesus Christ did.
Yeah. Also,
I think that's kind of how it's
think,
supposed to be. I could be doing this wrong.
What were you freaking out about?
Math. I can't get my math right, dude. Statics. I forgot statics.
It's chill. It's really just multiplication.
But yeah, so I don't know if I'm getting this right. I'm just trying to pull stuff out of my butt that I feel like makes sense. But
I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't claim to understand fully.
Well, that's true. So true.
What I want to say is I recall I watched this talk from my old Bible study leader. His name is Nathan Brockman. Shout out, Nate. Dude rocks. He's a veteran, or he was in the military or something.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess veteran. And he's such a dweeb. Like, he's actually such a nerd. Like, he has a room in his house called the Bat Cave.
That's so sick.
You should visit, dude. You would love it there. Saturday night Bible studies.
Where? In Everett?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We'll go one of these days.
We stopped by Mossy Rock.
Yeah. Detoured and then.
It's not that far.
It's not, I guess. Anyway, he talked about how there were a lot of laws that pertained to specifically protecting the Jews, the Israelites at the time. So food related, right? There were a lot of laws against unclean foods, right? That would be, I think, the way he said that, like, back then you couldn't prepare those foods well enough to have been.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Also, I think, right. I remember a lot of the stuff was pertinent to, like, Paul's talk on the weaker brother, right? Keeping the hair on top of your head, right? That was because the Egyptians, I think, they would cut bald spots to worship the sun god Ra. So the Israelites would be protecting themselves from stumbling in that regard by always keeping their hair, by keeping this ritualistic attitude toward a lot of things. No mixed linens.
Yeah.
Because of the way that those other tribes dressed, right? Or not tribes, other nations and peoples dressed,
right.
Like trying to be separate so that you don't succumb to their lifestyles. So the law was meant to protect them, right? And I think the reason Jesus says he fulfills the law is in that we are protected through him, right? It almost feels like the way I'm imagining it is when God introduced the law, it was a firm post in time. And then the Jews had like their way with it pretty much. And it was like just ropes dangling, not really firm in any way, but there's a firm beginning. And then Jesus is the post at the end that holds the lines together. So it's like, I don't know. That's what I see in my head. I don't know if it means anything to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like time-wise.
Like a laundry line. 2 poles at the end, holding up the clothes. Without either of the poles, it would fall.
Yeah. It's just like dangling rope between, like a drawbridge.
But yeah, like
they couldn't do it themselves, but they still can't do it.
I think what you were saying earlier too is there's definitely old laws that we still follow, in the sense of, you were saying that there's different types of laws, like the 10 Commandments, stuff like that. You know, it just shows God's morality and or character and how we want to be. Not only that, but how we are then separate of.
I think there was an important specificity to those 10 Commandments at the time. No other gods before me. Very specifically, like, other people are worshiping other gods constantly. Nowadays, we don't really have that.
I disagree.
Well, it's not in the same way. They were more explicit about what they were worshiping.
Okay, yeah. They were like, this statue, that's my God.
Yes.
Rather
absolutely. Nowadays,
idolizing things.
we do idolize
Yeah.
anything. anything and everything in our lives we idolize. But it is not the same as literally worshiping Molech.
Also true, yeah.
Like it's different, but it is.
Is it different?
It's
I guess
different.
intentional?
It's in presentation. It's different.
Yeah.
Right. If you say no, don't worship any other gods before me. It's like, well, to an atheist, you're like, well, yeah, I really only believe. Well, I don't believe in any of them, or not an atheist, but like an agnostic. You know, like I really only believe in one being anyway. So what would I worship? And what it really is like, don't put anything before me, right?
Yeah.
And so back then it was more explicitly idols, right? You didn't worship a whole lot back then because we didn't have a whole lot of things to worship other than like we had money, women, and Molech. That was kind of it back then.
Amen. That's awful.
Yeah.
Molech's so bad, dude.
Yeah.
You know about Molech, right?
Not a whole lot.
And then there's, in modern times, in Bohemian Grove, if you've ever seen the video, Alex Jones snuck in there. All the world elite, you know. I don't know if, yeah, I guess I can name a few names. But they're all at, I watched the footage back in the day. Basically, they were sacrificing a wooden effigy to the owl god Molech.
Cool.
Yeah.
I watched a video of a guy sneaking in while there was no one there.
Oh, yeah, the big Molech statue. Yeah.
Yeah, it was empty, like hollow.
Yeah, it's like a big plaster thing.
And that's so, like, symbolic.
Whoa, yeah.
It's a hollow
I didn't
shell.
even think about that.
It's meaningless.
It's not even strong. It's plaster.
Yeah.
Anybody can knock it over. Enough wind.
Yeah.
Things blown away.
Anyway, so this is about the Passion.
Symbolic.
The Passion, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The movie.
There was very little dialogue in the movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie, definitely go watch it.
You can't
really
eat
good.
while watching it unless... I mean, you
it's
kind
all,
of can.
It's all in Hebrew.
What Aramaic.
Aramaic.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. They all had to learn their lines in Aramaic, which is crazy. No improv in that film, which makes sense. Not a whole lot of room to improv when it's the Bible. I liked that. I mean, the whole movie is just about the crucifixion, pretty much.
Yeah. It takes place, it begins at the Garden of Gethsemane.
Gethsemane.
I've been trying to learn how to say that. Gethsemane.
Yeah, Gethsemane.
Mm-hmm.
It starts there, I think.
Yeah, he's praying. And then...
Didn't he parade in? No, I guess they probably cut to parading in.
I think they just started in the garden. It's dark. I remember...
I like how we've seen the movie before and we forgot how it started.
No, because it seems like you mentioned... We were watching and he's like, he's sweating blood, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense scene, moonlit, super blue and dark. And then some of the disciples were sleeping and he's like, couldn't pray with me for an hour.
You couldn't stay awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they marched on. I don't remember what happened after that.
You don't remember how the Bible goes?
Oh, well.
After that, Jesus was confronted by Judas and all that. There was a lot of cuts in between, especially since we're starting at the end. There's going to be like flashbacks throughout a lot of it, which just makes sense.
Man,
I liked the... What?
We should have taken notes. I should have taken notes.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of cutting. The last 2 episodes are going to be a lot of cutting.
Okay.
It's fine, though.
Yeah.
You know how to do that.
That's easy.
Yeah. So, a lot of bouncing around, but not a whole lot. It's kind of okay in that regard. Anytime there's a flashback, it's... If you've read the Bible, it makes sense to you. If you haven't, it's like... Okay. Why is he okay now?
Yeah.
What is this? Doesn't know what a flashback is. I thought he was just... Wait. Anyway. Satan was portrayed by, I think, a woman. Like a bald woman. Really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way Satan is portrayed. Cause
she needed some sleep. She had those huge bags under her eyes.
Yeah.
Gross, dude.
She looked like... She didn't look ugly, so to speak.
No. Nor was she a red and she didn't have horns.
No.
She almost blended in with the crowd.
White under a black cloak.
Yeah.
Coke, dude.
Kind of it's an interesting depiction. I've always been quite against the red-horned, red-skinned devil. You know,
Yeah.
It's like I'm sure Lucifer is extremely beautiful, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is why he's so, not only that, but the way he deceives us is so subtle.
Yeah.
You know, if the enemy makes himself known, then people will fight against it, you know? He has to trick us into thinking that he's not even there.
Yeah. I find what I notice is after Jesus died, like his on the cross, Satan down in hell, you know, was like, you know, like freaking out, doing that big thing. Her mouth was like, her teeth were all fucked up.
Yeah.
You know?
Just decayed, rotted.
Yeah. And so in my mind, I'm like, you look fine on the outside, but you're decayed on the inside, you know?
Yeah, you're dead on the inside. Yeah.
This damn fly. Get out of my nest, dude. My hair is my nest. I sleep in
That's so gross, dude. Never say that ever again. That's the same par as I'm saying I have flesh fashion.
Ew, dude.
Yeah.
My mom always called my brother's hair a rat's nest because he has a lot of it. Yeah. I keep mine nice. Shut up, dude. Don't look at me like that. Yeah, it looks great.
The amount of symbolism, I wish I remembered more. Because anytime we saw him, he was hiding behind things. I don't remember a scene where he wasn't cowering behind a crowd. Or at least, cowering is definitely the wrong word. He wasn't cowering.
He definitely wasn't standing in front of the crowd.
Yeah, he was hiding behind. He was trying to
I don't think it was a hiding.
watch.
I think it's just to blend in.
Yeah.
You know? It adds to the immersion. Like, he probably wasn't there for people to see him.
I don't know where I got this idea from, and I could be wrong on it, because I guess the Bible, when Jesus is trying to cast out some demons, they're like, why are you here? Have you come to finally damn us or whatever? Don't we have more time?
Is this in the Bible or in the movie?
This is the Bible. I forget. I'm definitely misquoting it.
He casted out demons into the pigs.
Is that the same?
And the pigs ran into the water, and everyone was like, just leave, dude. Like, we don't want you here. Because...
Well, the demons were yelling like, you Holy One, are you here to damn us already? Man, let me just find it.
Yeah, just find it.
Matthew 8, verses 28 to something. When he had come to the other side, to the country of the Gergesenes. Can you find it? Second line and last word.
Yeah. Okay. Gergesenes?
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 Whatever.
Yeah. There met him 2 demon-possessed men coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no one could pass that way. And suddenly they cried out, saying, what have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? Oh, with a question mark. They're questioning him. Have you come here to torment us before the time?
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like they know exactly what's going to happen.
Well, they know that... I think they know that he will have victory, that he already has victory.
Yeah.
And
they just want to have fun with it.
I watched a cool video on YouTube. Maybe that's where I got this from, or this idea that Satan didn't know, and that's why he wanted to kill Jesus, because he didn't know that would... He was trying to destroy God, or at least destroy the Son of God, right? To do a big middle finger to God, and by destroying Jesus in the most heinous way possible, which was the crucifixion that he went through. It's like God using Satan's short-sightedness. It's like God is always one step ahead of Satan, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right?
I think he's a little further than one step ahead.
Yeah.
I think Satan likes to think he's only a step behind.
I think Satan thinks he's a step ahead, which is why he was like, I'm sure he was celebrating when Christ was on the cross. Look what we're doing. We're killing him. You know?
In the movie, he was tormenting Jesus in the garden, saying, like, you can't handle the weight, you know? No man could handle that much weight.
So according to the Passion, then, Satan knew that Jesus was going to die on the cross, and he knew why that was significant.
I don't think Jesus or Satan understood maybe how... I think his goal was to separate the man from God.
Yeah.
Like in the Last Temptation of Christ.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know? To where, you know, he would try to get Jesus to think, like, I don't think Satan fully understands the 100% God, 100% man, right? To a point where he would try his best to get the man to take control instead of God, right? As though it's two different people inside of one body instead of it is just God.
Well, right, you can't tempt God. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So when he was out in the desert, that's a very human experience that Jesus was experiencing. Being dehydrated and hungry for 40 days in a hot desert. You know, I don't know, can God feel that unless he takes a human form? He would know how that feels, but can he feel it? You know what I'm saying? I guess I don't want to limit
form,
God,
yeah.
but yeah, right.
The flesh in itself is limiting.
So then when Satan slithers out there and he's like, yo, check out this buffet I got you, right? It's kind of, it's definitely tempting the human side of Christ, for sure.
He only tempted Jesus with bread.
It's enough.
And Jesus said man should not live on bread alone. I read the Bible.
So true.
He didn't tempt him with a buffet. He tempted him with kingdoms.
I'm probably thinking of Paradise Lost.
I don't know. That would be Paradise Regained, I think. Paradise Regained is all about the temptations.
Oh, that one. It's a Wendigo video.
Yeah, it's Regained.
Okay.
Lost is in the garden. Regained is in the desert.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Jesus defeating those temptations is the beginning of the end for Satan.
Yeah, right.
The beginning of the end for Satan was when he fell from grace, but heaven, I should say, not grace.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I liked the portrayal of Satan in the movie as someone who doesn't look ugly, but you don't exactly, like, it is, you get uneasy looking, but you're not like, ugh, you know?
Yeah.
I think the modern portrayal of Satan is like, well, we've never seen one of those before, so we're fine. And that dude looks pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
All the portrayals of Satan nowadays do look cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Got Hellboy and stuff.
And like, you know, Emperor's New Groove?
No.
No?
Oh, yes.
Of course you know that
with
movie.
Rock and all that? Grunk? What is his name? I don't
Kronk.
remember. Conk?
Kronk.
Kronk. Yeah, that's the llama.
Gronk.
The prince
Kronk.
turns into the llama.
Apparently they made a sequel called Kronk's New Groove.
I've seen it.
You have?
Yeah.
I've seen it too. I need to watch
I
it
don't
again
remember
sometime. We should do that. Second series. Emperor's New Groove and Kronk's New Groove. Anyway. It'd be kind of funny though. See, how does Jesus fit into this? My point, I had a point to this. Right. When Kronk had the angel and the devil on his shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
And the devil was like, and number 2, look what I can do. And he does a handstand. And the angel's like, no, he's got a point.
Yeah.
I love that. But also, you know, just modern portrayals of Satan are never bad.
Right.
They're pretty awesome.
Or they seem relatable, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Hell is oftentimes depicted as freedom.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The path that rocks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as
We're
quoting...
all gonna infinite party down in hell. Yeah.
Yeah. We got booze.
Not only
roofies.
that, but I've seen it a lot in artwork and paintings and depictions of hell where the demons are torturing the people that are in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's just not how it's going to be. They will all be tortured the same. Like you're being tortured by the wrath of God, not demons. You know, the demons aren't going to be enjoying themselves down there. They will be, if not in more pain. You know, hell was designed for them, I think. I've heard that from somewhere. I need to do research on all my opinions that I've just heard from other people. I have no idea.
Dude just says stuff.
Yeah, I do. I don't know where these things can't come from. I've been questioning myself as I say them in podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've just kind of always had that brain pattern in my head for that kind of thing. When it comes to hell, it's made for the demons. I've heard that from somewhere and it stuck with me. Don't know why. Don't know how biblical that is. Was hell made before humanity?
I think hell is Sheol, Hades, right?
Yeah.
I think sin is above Satan. I think sin is more of an entity than Satan is. Or not than Satan is, but than, like, it's more of a thing than simply an idea, you know? That Satan is, like, he is one with sin in every way, right?
Yeah.
But sin is almost like this,
I mean, sin is more than Satan.
Yeah.
As well.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, if I sin,
I'm saying sin feels more like a giga entity, but that's kind of always been around.
I mean, when we sin, we don't say, you just pulled a Satan.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You also don't say, you just pulled a sin.
Yeah, we also don't say that. That's
yeah,
also
we never
true.
say that. Whatever. I'm kind of talking about it.
You just tripped over a sin.
Oh, shit. My bad. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's outside of our pay grade, especially since we don't get paid to do this.
So true.
So we can just talk about anything. Claim it to be true because we're not getting paid.
Yeah, might as well.
Whoa, jeez.
Let's just say it confidently.
Yeah.
Start a cult.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm going to change my name to Yeshuah.
Blasphemous.
It's just Joshua. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
That Jesus' name is Yeshuah in Hebrew, which is just Joshua, the most man-like common name ever.
It's my older brother's name. Joshua.
Joshua back then is that's a common name. The point of like Jesus is to have been a man, but better at it than everyone else.
Mm.
You know, not to stand out as some figure, but as, but stand out in his own way,
mm-hmm.
right? Not some political figure under a name that no one's had ever before, but to be just a man named Joshua,
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Because when we say Jesus, right, we are, referring to the same person as when they say Yeshuah. It's the same man.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been like, well, you've been worshiping the wrong name then, because it's actually Joshua. It's like, well, what matters is who it is, not the name in front of it,
Yeah.
What matters is the Christ. Jesus is the Christ. Yeshuah. Joshua, technically. The Christ.
The Messiah.
The Messiah. God.
Become
man. Yeah.
Yeah, if you call upon his name, even if you're... Yeah, I mean, if you call upon... If you don't know his name, can you still call upon him then?
Yeah. It's about what the name represents.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah, I guess what does it mean?
It's not like if you say Yeshua or Joshua or Jesus, like okay, that one didn't work. Let me try this one. Like,
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's all God.
What does the name Jesus mean?
I don't know.
Let's look that up.
I was actually just thinking about that. I'm like, you say his name is Emmanuel. Call him Emmanuel, which is God with us.
God saves, or the Lord is salvation. That's what Jesus means. Comes from the Hebrew name Yeshuah, which is based on the Semitic root. Can't read that, meaning to deliver or to rescue. Yeah, basically it's just a huge parallel with
Joshua and Jesus are exactly the same. Jesus originates. You looked up what does Jesus mean?
Yeah.
I looked up what does Joshua mean. The name Joshua originates from the Hebrew name Yehoshua, which means God is deliverance or God is salvation. This interpretation is widely accepted across the different traditions and cultures.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
The name Joshua represents a deep connection to God and the concept of salvation or deliverance.
Yeah, even what mine says, the name Jesus is similar to the Old Testament name Joshua, which also communicates that God saves people from their sins.
Dude, Yeshua, is composed of two parts, Yahweh referring to God and Yasha meaning to save or to deliver. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. That rocks. God is salvation. God is deliverance.
Absolutely.
That's like what that is. Jesus. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful. Oh.
And the Bible only gets cooler. I wonder if the name had that meaning. Well, I guess it would have been Joshua, which would have held the meaning in the Old Testament, which then would have led
Well, they hold the same meaning no matter what. Jesus and Joshua.
I guess I'm saying how it's not like Jesus, like you're saying, made an original name and then we made the meaning of that name off of what he did. It was the name was already established in the meaning of it, and then he came with that name. I don't know if it was Gabriel or Michael. One of the angels was with Mary, and he was like, "Name him Jesus. His name will be Jesus."
I think it might have been Michael.
It's one of them. Yeah,
one of the two.
It doesn't matter.
His name should be Jesus.
His name will be Jesus.
Call him Emmanuel, God with us.
Amen.
Which I think is interesting. They name a lot. In the Old Testament, there's a lot of times where it names specific locations because of something God did there.
Yeah.
So to say his name is Jesus, call him Emmanuel, it's almost like Emmanuel, God with us. It's like a place.
Cool.
You know? Like, yeah, there's a bunch of times where they call specific locations like Bethel or something. Means like something, but they called it that because of something that God did there, right? And so in the same way, it's like, call him Emmanuel. It's this living place, this living totem representation of God. Call him Emmanuel, God with us.
You know what's cool?
What?
People who were alive back then and knew Mary and knew Jesus growing up, I'm assuming, I guess, who knows? I don't think we will know Christ as a child. So those people then would be the only people in all of eternity to have experienced God.
I think we can ask what it was like and like
cool.
Watch a movie in heaven.
You think so? We'll be able to like watch it.
Oh yeah, sure, dude.
A little camera.
Yeah, Jesus was wearing a GoPro the whole time.
You think so, or is that
God
part
did a
of the
supercut for us?
You think so, or is that part of the idea that we can't actually like the old? The
I think
past
a lot of
won't
our
come to
questions
mind.
are going to be answered when we're with him. What a Brad.
Yeah. So Luke 1:26 through 31. Now in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent to was sent by God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary, and having come in, the angel said to her, "Rejoice, highly favored one, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women." But when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying and considered what manner of greeting this was. Then the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. He will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end." Yeah. So it's Gabriel. Yeah. Name will be Jesus.
Can you look down for me?
Head shape thing going on?
No, you have some red action going on your upper...
On the glasses?
On your bridge.
Where the glasses lay?
I think so.
Yeah, sometimes it's just acne or something.
Gotcha. You should clean your glasses. Fucking filthy.
Every day.
I feel like I've sworn a lot.
I do every day.
Probably,
It's just a little.
you should do a swear counter for this episode.
No.
Okay. Ding! Every time I say something wrong.
I don't really know what to say about the Passion.
I have more.
What is there to talk about?
While he was in the garden,
conversation?
he did sweat blood. Like I noticed. They made it very subtle, but his pores were deep, like dark. It was very dark. It was blue in the garden.
Yeah.
So it was really dark. You couldn't see a whole lot, but you could see his pores were like filling up with blood. And his forehead was like spotted.
Yeah, it looked like somebody spritzed. How do you say that? There's a word for that. Spritzed. Yeah, some dirt onto his face kind of thing.
Yeah, but
some dark spots.
They were like pretty big dark spots on his forehead.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way, he's actually bleeding. He's sweating blood. I feel like that is what it would look like. I think in some depictions they think it's like, or at least in my head, I guess I thought it would be more like streams, but having your pores simply just oozing a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. That is a real medical thing where if you're under extreme stress, you can sweat blood. In the other two movies, they did not feature that. Instead, they had really bad portrayals of Jesus going, I'll die if you want me to. Let me be the Messiah. Like, I don't, it's all sorts of fouled up. Oh, man. So many things to not complain about in this movie. A big portion was dedicated to the torture of Jesus.
A huge amount of it.
A lot of it. And I saw some reviews. We read the reviews afterward. They were like, this is some, like, I think it said it was a pornographic bloodbath.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're insane. Pornographic bloodbath. Another person said it, like, as though they didn't want to think about the Passion, which that entire event, the Crucifixion, is, I believe, called the Passion in and of itself. Like outside the movie, it is just called the Passion. Like someone said, great, this totally ruins my interpretation of the events or whatever, like complaining that they took exactly what's described in the Bible and put it to picture. And they're like, that's not what I wanted it to be. It's like, why do you get to critique this movie? You're just, I'm uncomfortable with the fact that it goes against my specific mental portrayal of this moment. Wow. Just, I'm imagining the one part where the whip got stuck.
Yeah.
And they yanked harder and it pulled back a full thick clump of skin that revealed some of Jesus's ribs. Yeah. Actually, it's strange to say that it was beautiful. Because it's that, seeing that and understanding that Jesus, like it says, Jesus was beaten beyond recognition. He was broken. This is my body broken for you. In both the other portrayals of Jesus on the cross, he was not broken. This he was.
And in the strength that he also showed through it, it's kind of, they continued to beat on him until he was broken. There was quite a while there where even with the lashings, he would fall over and then it would show as he got back up. Just
one thing
to fall again, get back up.
He only got up once.
Was it once?
Yeah. When they were whipping him specifically. He got up multiple times when he was carrying the cross.
Also true.
But when they were whipping him, they whipped him a few times and then he stood up and he just sat there in silence. And they're like, all right. And then they kept going. So in my head, I feel like one could interpret that as Jesus being almost a masochist, asking for more. And I didn't really like that thought. In my head, I feel like a better way to have done that specific moment. I feel like maybe it could mean something else, though, right? Like, obviously, Jesus wasn't a masochist.
I mean, what is he going to do? Is he going to flee? Is he going to badmouth them? Is he going to plea for mercy?
Like, after
what is he there to do? He understood what he was there to do.
Yeah.
I feel like doing anything else would have showed lack of faith to the Father. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, does Jesus ever say something about, it's with, I don't know if it's with Pilate, but he talks about how if he wanted to, he can call upon God, and God would send his legions of angels to come protect him.
Jesus never declared that himself.
No? Who said that?
The Pharisees mocking him while he was on the cross. They were like,
was it
so
really?
you
I know the Pharisees did do that.
You won't perform for us a little miracle? You claim to be the Son of God, but you won't even get yourself off that cross? Because in their minds, they're like,
I gotta look this up.
Our political Messiah. No, Jesus would never self-proclaim that.
There was a point. There was a point to it.
Oh, my bad. Actually just punched the mic. Knock it around a little.
It could have even been when Peter knocked the ear off or something.
I don't know if you're remembering that right. What are you trying to say?
Basically, that nobody can touch him unless given authority to do so by God.
Okay, that's very different than the angels thing. The angels thing was the Pharisees. I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay, what am I
talking about? He did say
to
Pilate that the only authority that you have is what's been given to you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so
he said that to Pilate.
The whipping would stop. Christ would be able to be there in faith towards God, accepting that.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than fleeing of his own accord to escape. Therefore, taking that situation into his own hands.
I think all I'm thinking about is the fact that Jesus didn't just sit there until they were done. He stood back up, and that told them to keep going. That's my thought. Almost from the perspective, like you could say Jesus is a masochist by seeing that. They whipped him a few times. They were satisfied, and then he stood back up. And then they kept going. He didn't explicitly ask. I don't know. I don't believe that Mel is trying to say that Jesus was a masochist, but I think that someone could watch that scene and determine that from that scene.
Yeah, I wonder if there was symbolism at all to the standing up. Could it not be... Man, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's...
Like, would they have stopped if he didn't stand back up?
Well, I remember Pilate told to those guys, he said, make it brutal.
Yeah, but don't kill him.
Yeah, but don't kill him because he didn't want to kill Jesus. He was like, we'll just beat him up a bunch and then make it bad so that these people will be okay with it. He got his due, right? Maybe him standing up was saying, you haven't... I don't know, because even then, they still wanted him crucified, whether or not he walked out as cut up as he was when he was first whipped and after, I say first whipped and after being first before he stood up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think that's super important to nitpick on. The amount of blood and skin tearing was insane to look at. Because it reminds me, because sometimes we get stuck in this fact that, anytime the crucifixion is portrayed to, kids or in public areas, it's done so poorly. If you see, if someone makes you, a wooden cross with a figure of Jesus on it.
Yeah.
It's never like, what the hell? You know, it's always like, oh, that's Jesus, obviously. And that's literally the opposite of like the intention is, you know, beaten beyond recognition. He could have looked like anyone else, but he's like bruised up, torn apart.
Looked worse than the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mel's depiction would be the closest, you know,
Yeah.
so far. I wonder if they'll do better in The Chosen, or even.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't think they would show it. I think the point of The Chosen is to get to the crucifixion.
Oh.
Because it's kind of about. It's kind of more focused on the disciples' perspective.
Mm.
You know, seeing what everyone else was like, and how it fit into this story.
Will it not go through the crucifixion then beyond?
I guess it could. There are a lot of points in The Chosen that are like, or not a lot of points, but there are some that are like flash forwards. It's like some like Matthew orating his memory or something to someone else, and post Jesus stuff.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway.
Pilate, definitely a much better portrayal than the other two movies.
Yeah. Pilate
he was very unbiased, as he should be. And
he looked concerned the whole time.
Yeah, he looked concerned.
Was like, my wife is in distress about this situation. Like, she doesn't want me to kill this man. I don't want to kill this man. He's innocent. But these people, like, they've forced my hand.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to Nicodemus. You know, Nicodemus was right at the edge. He would have followed Christ. But he didn't get, you know, that little bit further in faith that he would have been a follower, right? In the same way, Pilate was like, he was right on the edge. He could have been definitive, but I think he's supposed to be a speaker of the people, right? And the Pharisees threatened him with saying, what do you think Caesar would say if this man rose up against you? Or like, we would say some things to Caesar behind your back, sort of like,
right.
We would damn you.
Well, that's when Pilate asked him, you know, where is your kingdom, right? And Christ is like, my kingdom is not of this world.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Not, my kingdom may or may not exist, like in the other movies.
Right. My kingdom may not be here. However they say it.
I don't know where it is. No, it's my kingdom is not of this world.
Yeah.
Absolutely false portrayals of Jesus. They infuriate.
Yeah, so also he went to Pilate twice or even 3 times? Twice. Yeah, which was cool to see that was in fact biblical.
Well, I mean, you could also look it up in the Bible.
Also true. Or you could just watch The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, it's the same as reading the entire New Testament.
Well, there was very little dialogue in the movie, which is always super impressive. I like it when movies use little dialogue, because then it's just visual storytelling, which takes a lot more skill. Not only that, but any dialogue that they did use, most of it was just straight out of the Bible. I think Pilate probably had the most words that weren't directly a quote from the Bible, if I remember correctly. I mean, I didn't go through the Bible and quote every single line, but what are you doing?
I'm looking to see if it was biblical. Because it went Pilate, Herod, Pilate. Pilate, Herod, Pilate.
Yeah, Pilate sent him to King Herod.
I don't know. I think it's because there's different all right. Jesus before Caiaphas. Peter denies Jesus. Jesus delivered to Pilate. Judas hangs himself. Jesus before Pilate. Okay, so maybe... Okay, so in here, it doesn't say. That's in Matthew. It doesn't say he went before Herod. A young man flees. I love Mark 14. And a young man followed them with nothing but a linen cloth about his body, and they seized him, but he left the linen cloth and ran away naked. Isn't that interesting? We talked about that before.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, in here, in Mark, it's just Jesus to Pilate, and then he sentences him to the crucifixion. So now in Luke. In Luke, it's Jesus to Pilate, Jesus to Herod, then back to Pilate. So only in Luke, so far at least. What about John? Caiaphas, Pilate, kingdom is not of this world. And then so it's only in Luke.
Interesting.
Only in Luke that he gets sent to Herod and then back to Pilate again.
Also, touching on the idea that Jesus Christ stands back up, almost asking for more. Here's a cool verse from John 10, verses 17 to 18. Might be taken a little bit out of context, but we'll see what you think of it. Therefore, my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This command I have received from my Father. Period. So, once the crucifixion began, he is laying down his life. And he knows the purpose that he is doing that for.
Yeah.
So the standing back up may be an action of taking control of the idea that he is laying down his life. Maybe?
No, that still says, whip me more.
Yeah, I guess so. But if there's a purpose for the whipping, is it masochistic? I guess why do we see that as a bad thing if he stands up and asks for more? Why is that inherently a bad thing?
If he asks for more, that's masochism. That's literally masochism. To ask for more beatings. You know?
Is there any way around that?
Yeah. Simply being done, which is what he did afterward. They whipped him enough and they stopped. He didn't ask for them to stop. He didn't ask for them to keep going. Once they were done, they were done. Someone else stopped.
I mean, is it fair to say standing up is...
I don't think that it is a direct claim that Jesus was a masochist. I'm saying that someone could watch that clip and claim based off of that alone that Jesus would have been a masochist.
Right.
Just because of that one simple motion of him standing back up. I don't know. I think it's a stretch no matter what to call Jesus a masochist. But that one scene, it's a nitpick of a one shot. It irked me when I first saw it, though. I will say. Just because I think, as a man made that movie, a man can make a mistake in that movie.
We should look it up.
I don't think we need to keep talking about Jesus standing up in that one scene in the movie. We should keep talking about this one specific moment when Jesus stood back up. I don't know. What are you doing? Jeez Louise, what are you doing?
Looking it up.
What do you mean? What the definition of masochism is?
No.
Well, can you tell me what you're looking up?
Yeah, why did Jesus stand back up?
In the movie.
Yeah, I know.
It's only in the movie.
That's what I said. Right.
What?
Let me quote what I wrote down, okay? Why did Jesus stand back up in the Passion of the Christ while getting whipped? Flogged even is probably a better word, but...
I think that's insane that you're trying to look up an opinion.
There might be reason behind it. For the movie like The Passion of the Christ, it would make sense that people have gone through and tried to find the meaning in everything. Like we were, I don't know. Maybe Mel Gibson's talked about it in an interview and it would come up. Who knows? Because if you've had a problem with it, so...
I don't really have a problem with it, but it did irk me.
Yeah.
It made me think. I think I don't think it's devil's advocate in this case. I think in best case scenario that him standing up was an expression that he is stronger than they think.
Yeah.
I think that's a better answer. You're really filling out that beard, dude.
Is it?
Yeah. It's like up. You know? Getting that chop.
Yeah, it doesn't grow in here.
I'm saying specifically the amount of hair just right here, you know, in the chop spots, the chop zones. All right, let's kibosh that scene.
Okay.
We're done with that now.
I want to know.
Well, there's kind of two answers. Jesus saying that he is strong enough, stronger than they think, or that he's a masochist. And I'm pretty sure it would be the former.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, that's Pilate.
Jesus being like, it took me one day, because I went to private school my whole life, right? At some point you get really desensitized to the crucifixion when you're constantly told about it every day.
Yeah.
You know, I know you, well, I guess you kind of experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm experiencing it right now. We're talking about it. It doesn't feel powerful to me. I mean, I have the knowledge of it being powerful. I don't feel it in the same way. If that makes sense.
I get
more
that.
brain knowledge than heart knowledge kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing that movie and seeing how much damage was done to him and understanding that that probably isn't even a full extent of how much was done to Jesus. And seeing that he did that, knowing that it was specifically for you.
Yeah.
Right?
My sins put him up there. My sins did that to him.
Yeah. He did it.
I did that to Christ.
He did it for you, though.
Yeah.
Like specifically Joe.
Yes.
You were on his mind when he was up there.
Isn't that a crazy thought?
Yeah.
I wonder if he really did have a moment of thinking of everybody. I wonder if God was like, whoosh.
I'm certain.
Man.
It's absolutely for everyone that he knew this was going to bring with him. Right? Because there are people who weren't going to be saved.
For of the elect that God has gifted to Christ. That's biblical.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy way of saying it, but yeah.
That's how it says in the Bible. I know that for sure.
Okay.
I know. I'm confident in that one.
Yeah. Like you absolutely would be thinking about, you know, this is for Joe. You know?
Yeah.
All these people.
For Moon Man.
For Moon Man. I wonder if you said that. I wonder if you thought about that. Surely he did. Surely he thought about Moon Man.
Just because we're saying it now, God flashed him a little scene. Then he goes, God, why have you forsaken me?
That's why he said that.
He has a sense of humor. What if we get to heaven and he's like, you guys want to see something
funny? We got...
This is why.
Yeah, that's why he said that. It was we showed him this.
You know how funny that would be if God was just like,
God
I'm going to make a little funny about this.
It was Moon Man.
Because it's debated why he said that, right? And what that means, what that implies.
In the moment, just going, ah.
Here's the thing. God has a sense of humor. That'd be so funny if we get to heaven and he's like, that one moment? That was
your fault.
I just did that because it was funny.
Yeah, I showed him Moon Man. He's like, I know you're having a tough time up there. Check this out.
It's like what Jesus was seeing was not the crowd, but just God standing before him, like, check this video out.
This is you going, Whatever. Moon Manning. Oh, that's so funny.
Definitely heretical, but funny.
I think it's only heretical if you believe it.
You think so? You can't go around like saying... I mean, you could definitely say a lie, know that it's a lie, not believing in it, and still lead others astray.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you went up to someone and said that, I don't think they would go, really?
Well...
Joe, are you serious? Is that actually... You're incredible. You made Jesus say that. You're the bad man, not Moon Man. Anyway.
Who is Moon Man?
You. What do you mean who's Moon Man?
I don't know. I was just trying to...
Anyway.
I don't know. Just see what you said.
I want to know what he was going to say.
Because you were like, Moon Man. And I was like, who is Moon Man?
It's an entity. It's a character. Whatever. It's an idea.
Changes with the times.
Yeah. You know what would suck, dude?
Immortal.
If these like weren't working the whole time.
They're working. I turned it on. And then remember I did the clap and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I will not let that mistake happen ever again.
Yeah.
I may not be...
Me neither. Me too. Me 3.
Me quad.
4. What?
Yeah.
Me quad. There's 4 of me now. Anyway.
And there's 3 of you.
Right, my point...
I will destroy you with my army.
My point is that you have to think about like how gruesome that whole experience, to have your skin torn off your back and to have it rub against raw wood, right? Because in this movie it didn't do crucifixion perfectly right. Again,
that's heinous. Why would you even say that?
It's a movie.
I'm just kidding.
I know you're kidding. You're just, dude.
Were you actually concerned? Sorry, this is...
dude's up in the air. Right? Do you need to play Tiny Wings? Do you need to focus? Do you need to log back in?
I need like a Subway Surfers run and follow the conversation so I can actually pay attention.
You have to make, when we start doing shorts, Subway Surfers.
No.
Slime videos at 2 times speed.
The problem is that would be good.
It would be, it'd be so funny, dude.
I don't want to do that. I feel like I'd rather not do that, and then at the podcast, when the podcast takes off, other people would do that for us by taking clips of what they...
That's so true.
Yeah. I never played Subway Surfers.
I like Subway Surfers. Anyway.
Man, I'm so engaged in Subway Surfer talk.
Lock in. Boom. Right. So crucifixion.
Okay.
Is a suffocation process. We've been over this.
Oh yeah, which that did not depict. That was not depicted in the movie.
No,
Christ was not struggling to breathe.
The difference is, I think I'm starting to second guess myself now.
What's the difference? What are you talking about?
I gotta look into crucifixion again. I have to like actually dig into it.
Oh, you mean about the breath?
Yeah, because I realized they did break the other 2 guys' legs, and they went and they suffocated. Right? After they broke their legs. As though being in that position alone wasn't what was killing them, but the pain that they were in beforehand. And it's almost like a humiliation process.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
More than a torture before killing.
It's all the above.
Well, no, think. The 2 guys that were up there that weren't Jesus. The robbers, right?
Yes.
They weren't really beaten at all. They were just kind of put up there.
Yeah.
They were just standing there.
According to my understanding
Well,
Yeah.
in the movie.
And the movie. All
I'm
three of the
specifically
movies.
talking about in the movie.
Okay.
Well, I don't think in the Passion, in the Last Temptation or Superstar, they really had the other two guys.
Jesus Christ Superstar definitely had the two guys, but they weren't mentioned at all. They were just there. There was two other crosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think then both of them would have had. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
In the
doesn't.
Passion, they're up there. They're kind of just existing in front of this crowd. It's cold. You know, birds picking at one of the guy's eyes. I'm trying to think about how.
Yeah, they do the scene where the man is like cursing at Christ.
Yeah, there's the one that's cursing him, and the other
Son
one
of God,
that
take yourself off the cross. And the other guy is like, do you not have any?
Well, that wasn't one of the robbers. That was the Pharisees.
What does the robber say? Let's just look it up.
Yeah,
Let's be accurate. Let's just pull out the Bible.
I know that the other one says, remember me when you are in,
Surely I say to you, you will be in paradise with me today, or something like that.
Today you will be with me in paradise. Which, seeing Jim Caviezel's totally screwed up face saying that, while bloodied and beaten, is crazy to look at.
Yeah.
It's a fun thought. Today you will be with me in paradise. It's kind of a big description of the two molds God made.
Well, we were talking about like Sheol earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Today you will be with me in paradise. Now, after Jesus Christ died on the cross, then it gets confusing whether it's like Sheol's still a thing because of that Revelation verse where it's like the dead will rise first and then the living, right? Or if it's like my grandpa, he personally believes that we will all show up to heaven at the same time because we're not conscious. We're in a slumber
we're
state,
timeful beings.
Yeah.
Our souls are timeless. The soul is timeless. The body is timeful.
Yeah, but we would still experience a singular moment. Like we will still experience the march of forward, whatever that is. It's just there wouldn't be an end, right?
I'm saying that like
God, if
the ones who died right now, I think like the time between when they were down there and when Jesus or when they could go into heaven is going to feel more instantaneous than not. I think. I don't think everyone from 10,000 years ago is just chilling down there waiting for us to be taken up. Or for the second coming.
Or even if they are, they're not waiting at the same. They wouldn't be waiting in the same experience of time as we know it. Here's a cool brain buster. Not only is God everywhere and all-knowing, but he's also everywhere along time, probably even at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he's separate of time. That's crazy. He's experiencing all of it all at the same time.
He's not experiencing it. He is the experience. God doesn't experience time.
Does he not experience his own creation?
Well, I think experience implies learning.
Does it?
I think it's really that God is existing in all of that time all at once, not experiencing. I don't know. I think that word experience has more earthly connotations. Hold on. You look up whatever you were looking up.
Okay, so then, the two robbers on the cross. And the people stood looking on, but even the rulers with a sneer saying, oh, no, these are the Pharisees, I think. He saved others, let him save himself if he is the Christ, the chosen of God. Soldiers also mocked him. If you're the king of the Jews, save yourself. Scripture was written, king of the Jews. Then one of the criminals who were hanged blasphemed him, saying, if you are the Christ, save yourself and us. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, do you not even fear God, seeing you are under the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said to Jesus, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus said to him, assuredly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. So, I don't remember what we were trying to say. You said
About the robber?
Yeah.
Or the bad one?
If you were the Christ, save yourself and us. That's all he said.
I guess you were right. Then. I said
really?
you weren't.
What did I say?
You said that he said, get yourself off the cross. And I was like, no, that was the Pharisees. It was both of them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh. Yeah. It kind of, I think that's a really interesting or accurate portrayal of the two molds. Remember that? Two molds of clay?
Yeah, I do.
I totally punched the shit out of the mic.
The two molds of clay, that's in Romans. Romans
Yeah.
chapter 9.
But like you...
I went pretty crazy with that. Mixing it with John 10, where Jesus Christ goes into his shepherd parable, where he describes people as two different flocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how the Mormons turned that into the ones in America and the ones in Israel instead of, the Jews and the Gentiles.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer in the idea that we are chosen before we choose him, kind of thing.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
chosen first, which is it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know, because then you could just you can walk in circles about the meaning of that and or the idea that maybe like everybody who exists on this earth is chosen. There's all sorts of cool things because it's like I do believe that Christ died on the cross for everybody. So then it gets confusing.
Yeah, that gets beyond our human territory because we don't know.
Yeah.
And then that's when you have to say, if someone asks that kind of question, you say, I don't know, but I can give you,
I give you
the
my
resources.
Thoughts. Yeah. Or I can give you the source material. Here's the Bible. Go read. Just knock them out. Yeah.
For some reason, I imagine you're up on a stage giving a talk.
Here's the sword of God. Wow.
Word of God. Sword of the Spirit. Sword of God. Anyway, back to the best movie
actually.
ever. So I was saying I might have been wrong about crucifixion being a suffocation process. Because I know that the reason why they break your legs is so that you can't breathe, like you can't go up for air. You know?
Yeah, you can't push.
Because after they broke the two robbers' legs and they went, and they died. And just as they were about to take a sledgehammer to Jesus' knees to break them, they stopped and were like, I think he's already dead. I don't know why I put an accent on it.
Just an Indian accent.
Yeah, I think. And that's why they speared him and water came out.
Yeah,
right?
Then one of the Roman guys, make sure he's actually dead.
Yeah.
Speared him in the side, didn't move. In fact, he sprayed out water.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he sprayed out water.
In fact,
water. I don't know. I'll have to look into it because I feel like maybe I've been wrong then. Because in that movie,
you just want to look it up now.
I want to. Yeah,
I'm going to be cut everything out anyway.
Often resulted in suffocation as a primary cause of death. Often resulting as because of the positioning of the victim on the cross. Okay, so I'm right.
Yeah, you are.
How did crucifixion kill? Suffocation, loss of body fluids, and multiple organ failure. The weight of the body pulling down on the arms making... Okay, so the feet holds are inaccurate.
The what?
The footholds, like the wooden footholds for them to stand on, are inaccurate.
That was never a thing.
That's just...
Because
it's the weight of the body. It's the weight of the body hanging off the cross that makes it difficult to breathe.
Yeah.
And if you're on something, if you're standing on something, that's not a problem, really. The weight of the body pulling down on the arms makes breathing extremely difficult. So, those accused of robbery were often tied to the crucifix, and because they could better support their weight with their arms, might survive for several days. Oh, because they could better support, yeah. Let's One of the most severe methods of crucifixion put the arms straight above the victim.
Oh, wow.
That can kill in 10 minutes to half an hour. It's just impossible to breathe under those conditions.
Gosh.
Someone nailed to a crucifix with their arms stretched out on either side could expect to live for no more than 24 hours. 7-inch nails would be driven through the wrists so that the bones there could support the body's weight. The nail would sever the median nerve, which not only caused immense pain, but would have paralyzed the victim's hands.
Oh.
The feet were nailed to the upright part of the crucifix, so the knees were bent at around 45 degrees to speed death. Executioners would often break the legs of their victims to give no chance of using their thigh muscles as support. It was probably unnecessary, as their strength would not have lasted more than a few minutes, even if they were unharmed. Yeah, if there's not... Yeah. Okay, wait. The heart and lungs would stop working as blood drained through the wounds. Crucifixion was invented by Persians, and blah, blah, blah. The upright wooden cross was the most common technique. Once the legs gave out, the weight would be transferred to the arms, gradually dragging the shoulders from their sockets. The elbows and wrists would follow a few moments later, which was interesting. They pulled Jesus' arms in the Passion until they popped.
Yeah, you're right. To fit him on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, that's unbiblical. But no, pulling a bone out of its socket is not the same as breaking a bone.
Well, the Bible also didn't go into extreme detail about how crucifixion was performed.
Right. I'm saying, talking about specifically the bone-related, the fact that Jesus' bones would not be broken.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Popping a bone out of its socket, though, is not the same.
Yeah,
The elbows and wrists would follow a few minutes later. By now, the arms would be 6 or 7 inches longer. The victim would have no choice but to bear his weight on his chest. He would immediately have trouble breathing as the weight caused the ribcage to lift up and force him into an almost perpetual state of inhalation. Suffocation would usually follow, but the relief of death could also arrive in other ways. The resultant lack of oxygen in the blood would cause damage to tissues and blood vessels, allowing fluid to diffuse out of the blood into the tissues, including the lungs and sac around the heart. This would make the lungs stiffer and make breathing even more difficult, and the pressure around the heart would impair its pumping. Okay, so I was kind of wrong. I thought it was an up and down sort of thing, but it's just the sheer weight of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they would have to be pulling themselves then, or trying to with their arms,
yeah,
right?
I guess.
To get
so
air.
I'm not entirely wrong.
No, maybe it was still a different. Well.
Medical theories on the cause of it. Why can't we just crucify someone and see what happens? Just bring it back. Bring back crucifixion.
Bring back Rome?
We're in Rome, dude. We're in Babylon. Come on. Yeah, interesting. That's really interesting. I always thought that the legs being up at 45-degree angle was to be more comfortable. I guess that...
No. Definitely not, dude. Simply because that's all you can do with your legs. I don't think there was any comfort up there. I think your body
it says
made the shape
specifically
of
like
whatever could be.
They would push your legs
up
in such a way that you were at an angle. I think it's at 45 degrees, so it'd be pretty drastic.
It's extreme, yeah.
And at that point, right, your legs are dangling off of, like, because if you were straight up and down, your knees could lock.
Yeah, you'd be able to support your weight a little bit better.
A little bit better. But if you're...
yeah, your legs would be useless.
Yeah, if you're like that, you're kind of just forced to hang there, and it's really hard to breathe.
Yeah.
Shit. What a way to go. Anyway.
I wonder how many people were crucified.
Plenty. Robbers were crucified. There's got to be more than just 2.
Jesus and those 2 robbers, the 3 only victims ever of crucifixion. Pretty sure there was a emperor or a Caesar, I guess, that was he's well known for just crucifying Christians all the time.
I know Peter was crucified upside down.
Also true, yeah.
Just a crazy thought. Like, wouldn't that be easier? I don't know. I've never been crucified. Next, Lindley, listen. We crucify ourselves and see what happens.
We'll go find some random person at Walmart.
We'll crucify a random person at Walmart?
Yeah.
We'll walk into Walmart with a cross.
Is this
like,
blasphemy?
No.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
They didn't really touch on the resurrection much in the Passion.
No, which I find is interesting. I've been complaining about this a lot. The 2 movies prior, Last Temptation and Superstar, end in the Crucifixion. The Passion of the Christ ends. It's like one small scene. It's like a 30-second, 1-minute scene.
Yeah.
Just showing that Jesus is resurrected. If they had just done that, taken 30 seconds, and added it to the end of either of those movies, it would have been less heretical.
Can something be
Still
less
heretical? Huh?
I mean, if
it has the resurrection, it is less heretical.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's still heretical in what we saw.
Yeah.
But the reason why those 2 movies don't have the resurrection is, I mean, you can tell in the way that it's made.
Yeah.
If you loved Jesus and you cared, you would have had the resurrection in there. But if you don't believe in the resurrection, then you simply believe in this fable.
Yeah, right.
You know, and you can do whatever you want with it. It's like, it's been changed through history. No. Untouched. God breathed. You know?
Amen.
So
yeah, so it was
by featuring the resurrection, it like if either of those 2 movies had the resurrection in it, you'd be like, what did I just watch then? Like, was that... It ended fine. He resurrected. That's like the point of the crucifixion.
It's the whole point.
It's the whole point. Is that he defeated death by overcoming it. Right?
Yeah. Amen.
By resurrecting.
He fulfilled the old covenant, right?
Yeah. Well,
if that's what we should say.
Yeah, I suppose.
He fulfilled at least all the prophecies.
He fulfilled, this is true. Well, not all of them. There's more that have yet to be fulfilled.
All the ones pertaining to him.
No, because they're all regarding what he's going to do later.
Oh, okay, yeah. Second coming and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Anyway. That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, that's it. That's the movie. It's a really good watch. It's not the longest watch. It definitely felt really short.
It was the mediumist length.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours. Last Temptation was almost 3. And Jesus Christ Superstar was a pitiful hour 40.
Both of those movies felt so much longer. Both of them.
They did?
I mean, the 3-hour long.
We never talked about Jesus walking around with the cross.
Well, he walked from being flogged and his ribs being shown.
Yeah, he kept being abused. Like it's.
Did they put a purple robe on him? I don't remember.
I think so.
Purple robe, or linen, some sort of garb that was purple for royalty, right? And they put the thorn crown on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I notice in the other 2 movies, they barely focused on the crucifixion. In this one, heavy on the flogging and the abuse before the crucifixion.
Heavy on the pain that Jesus would have experienced.
Last Temptation was a lot of exposition. Superstar was a lot of suck. And Passion was a lot about the abuse. And I think that shows, it's just to constantly remind you what each whip that he experienced, all of it was for you. Every single lash, every single ounce of blood that came from him was exactly for you.
Yeah.
You know? It honestly gets like tiring to see how many times he falls over while carrying the cross. Like you have to imagine like he can't support himself and this giant hunk of wood. I'm pretty sure the guy that helped him carry the cross was a black man, like described in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah. Who helped Jesus carry the cross? Simon of Cyrene.
Well, where's Cyrene?
African black man. Yeah. This is a significant city in the Roman Empire, and this location was led to traditional depiction of Simon as an African black man. So, Simon, in the movie, he looked like...
He was just like a regular...
No, he was... I'm pretty sure he was half black. He almost looked like he had vitiligo.
I would have to see him again. I don't remember any vitiligo.
Mainly because he looked very pale, but he had the facial features, you know? As I remember it, and as I know exactly what he looked like. He looked very much like he had the facial features of a black man, but his skin tone was slightly paler. So it's like he was mixed, you know?
Yeah.
Or like vitiligo slightly. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. He's a black man, which I think is really interesting. He revealed himself first to a woman, and a black man carried his cross. Isn't that interesting?
Do you think that's symbolic?
I think it's... people always claim that Christianity is a white man's religion.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
But Jesus actively went against that.
I heard a cool... Do you know Cliff Connectley?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Pretty sure we've talked about him. Cliff and Stuart Connectley.
No.
He goes to college campuses and preaches. He evangelizes.
If you showed me, I'd know him.
Okay. But either way, he was doing... Basically what he does is he gets a crowd of students, and they kind of form a circle around him as he's preaching the gospel, and they're debating with him, right?
I think I know. Does he kind of sound pretty commanding, his voice?
Definitely attention grabbing.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. And he started going on, and this white woman comes up and starts yelling at him, basically saying that Christianity is racist, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then an African man comes out of the crowd, and he's like, no, you're wrong. Christianity was in Africa before Europe.
Yeah.
She was saying that Christianity is like a colonialism, it's a very white European thing being forced onto everybody else. And then this African man comes out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, you're wrong. Actually, Christianity was in Africa before Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool moment. I like that video a lot. Christianity is not racist, nor is it built on racism.
Absolutely. Yeah. It sucks that it's been used in such damnable ways against us. To the point where if someone sees me, as I am white, I'm kind of vanilla. I don't really like that. I feel like I'm less than people because I'm white. And because I'm a believer, it's like, oh, yeah, of course you are.
You're just talking like American politics right now? Like American society?
Yeah. Like people look at, like my friends, like they see me and they just go, oh, makes sense. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's racism.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah, I guess.
No, it is.
Like my politics...
They're treating you differently because you're white? Yeah, that makes... Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're treating me differently, but they do... It's almost like I'm fulfilling a stereotype.
Yeah, that's racism.
And I don't like that.
That's what that is. Other races can be racist, too. Not just white people.
I watched this video that was...
Plus, there's this whole idea... Sorry, I know I'm interrupting you. There's a whole idea, like you're saying, of white guilt or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous. That should not be a thing. That should not be a thing at all.
It shouldn't be.
I don't need to be guilty. No, that's dumb. Don't let it be.
No, I'm not saying I have white guilt. I'm saying that it is a thing that exists.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't own any slaves. I've never treated anybody different because of their skin color. I don't have guilt about being white.
Do you stop yourself from saying the N-word in front of black people?
I don't think I say the
N-word.
Being
racist then. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
Plus, if I had a really close black friend, I would probably say it way more. I'd probably say it. I would probably say it. And then anytime anybody told me racist, I'm like, let me call my friend real quick.
Yeah. Guys, I got a guy.
Yeah.
I got my one black friend. I got token.
No way, that'd be so sick. You know how fun that'd be?
I got the pass. Don't worry.
I'll marry some black chick. Bam.
Boom.
Immediate, more vocab.
I thought you were saying immediately more valuable.
I know.
Your social credit status goes up.
It would, dude, according to the woke mob.
Anyway, I was saying, yeah, Christianity has been trampled severely. Yeah. And it sucks because, like, nowadays people are super unreceptive, especially, like, from me. You have some shit right eyebrow? You got it. Because I'm not the most loving when you first meet me. I'm definitely the funniest and the loudest, but I'm never the most. You couldn't figure out that I'm actually a lover and a fighter based on a first interaction with me.
You could feel very blunt and abrasive.
Yes,
a lot of the time.
So it's kind of rough.
Yeah,
in that regard, trying to be anyone else until you get to know me, and then it's like, all right, let me backpedal now that you know me. Whatever. What are you doing to me? I'm
just trying to be like, hello.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually a stone cold Steve Austin. I gotta piss again.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I'm not gonna stop though. Well, we will stop, but I won't take a break.
Okay.
I think we got through that crucifixion and the walk.
Yeah, we did, but then we were talking about something cool. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention because you were talking about Christians being trampled on. Did you see the recent Kamala video where she was at a rally and somebody in the crowd yells, "Jesus is King," and she goes, "You're at the wrong rally," or something like that.
I gotta find this now.
Yeah, Will and I were watching it. And then now JD Vance, I believe it was today at some rally, somebody said the same thing and he was like, "Amen, Jesus is King." So cool. I'm paraphrasing.
Hold on.
Ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. For freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Is that the right clip?
It says Kamala fires back at protesters at rally in Wisconsin.
Again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court.
Is that bad?
That they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended.
Jesus is Lord. So, did you hear it?
Jesus is Lord. I heard that.
Jesus is Lord. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Hold on. War on Christianity in our schools. You're at the wrong rally.
Mm-hmm. Satanist.
Oh, Trump reacts.
Oh, really?
50 minutes ago. Forbes breaking news.
You're doing the thing. Watch this video.
No, very good people. I saw them.
Many people said the best people.
I walked in here. I said these guys are rocking.
She heard shouting from the background, "Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord."
I wonder how much Trump actually believes it.
Yeah.
Ridiculed them, mocked them, and told them they were, quote, "You're at the wrong rally. Get that." She basically said, "Get out," but I won't say that.
people didn't hear that so much, but she said, "You're at the wrong rally," and that's really what she meant. That's really what she meant. She's really.
Weird.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't like that.
As a Christian, how do you then view politics?
Oh, I already view politics from the perspective of, I don't like that I'm called a conservative or Republican or right wing or stuff like that.
Yeah, you're a follower of Christ.
Yeah, especially since the things that I believe in are based off of what I read, right? There, at no point does it say or talk about God using, like, I don't like government programs because I would rather it be all of us from our hearts giving, right, instead of being forced to give.
Right.
God says do not give out of compulsion, but out of the kindness of your heart, right? Yeah. God loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
So I don't like that people are forcing other people to give money just because they made more money. And I don't like that people are greedy enough that they create this big 1%, Like I love the art of working to make a better life for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I don't like when it creates such a split where you let that get to your head instead of saying, thank you, Jesus, for giving me a chance to work for something that you have blessed, and it turns into, I'm Jeff Bezos and you're watching Disney Channel, and they got $3 quintillion sitting up there and they don't care enough to give any of it back. That's the thing. My mom says money is good for the good that it does. She said that the money is not the root of all evil. She doesn't believe that. For how blue she is, she's voting Cam. She says money is not the root of all evil. Money is good for the good that it does. If you she wants to make more money so that she can use it for people more, which is exactly what God wants from us. What
is it that I don't know? I feel like that's kind of like a
money is good for the good that it does.
Will not God provide the money that you need to then be that wealth for somebody? To be that blessing for somebody?
What are you saying? Are you disagreeing with my mom?
No.
Okay. What do you?
Not necessarily. It feels like a weird thing.
I'm confused. Money is good for the good that it does, as in you make the money and then you use it for good.
Yeah.
Money isn't the root of all evil.
That's just a phrase saying that money will corrupt, and it's very easy to
money can
fall
corrupt.
into sin with money.
Yeah, money can corrupt, but money isn't the root of all evil. You can do good things with money. It's just that a lot of us don't.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Obviously there was evil before money. So.
I need you to clarify because I have no idea what you're trying to say.
I don't either. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
It's kind of like, it just feels, yeah. I don't know. It feels as though there's a sense of taking control of it or seeking money to solve my issues.
As in my mom wants to work more to have enough to help other people? Or what do you...
No.
Okay.
Take your mom out of it.
Okay.
Okay, your mom's not here.
Well, I was talking about my mom.
I know. I don't want to make it personal, though. It's not supposed to be personal. The idea of, this isn't a jab at your mom. That's
okay.
What
well,
I'm trying to get to.
All right.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. What am I even thinking right now? Is there a sense of taking control out of God's hands kind of thing and taking control of a situation or wanting to be a blessing? So instead of just giving with what you have, you seek more rather than just trusting that God has already given you enough? I don't know. Maybe
as in you're saying I'm not making enough money to help more people, so I need to work harder, instead of saying I'm content with. I don't know.
I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Maybe my point doesn't make any sense.
So then stop saying it because I don't like.
Okay.
I don't want you to say something half baked.
Yeah.
And have me not get it.
I just have a feeling. I'm trying to express the feeling, but I have no idea. So whatever.
So I'm going to continue then.
Okay.
My mom whenever she's around, she pays for everything, no matter what. We cut in line at the football game that she came to last time. We cut because I walked up to some of the band members. It was during halftime, so we had just gotten off the field, and it was our chance to go eat, right? So I get to the concession stand, see a bunch of other band players in line, and I'm like, hey, solidarity, that's what I said. And they were like, yeah, sure. So my mom and I cut in line, and she paid for them behind us. It was like $100 because it's concessions food. It's like $6 per, like for a drink.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
$12 for a sandwich.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care because she gives so freely, you know? And I want to be like that. In fact, I think I am a lot like that to a fault. Spending $70 on Olive Garden the other night. It was a lot more than $70 I spent that day because I had to get the gas and whatever. I don't care. I like that I did that, you know, just for Anella. I wanted to do that. So yeah, money, like to have the kind of drive to, like my mom does, to work for the sake of what she can do with it for others, I don't think that's a bad thing, right? God using someone who has been really successful to use that money for someone else is, yeah. I mean, it's the point of it, right? Like, Jesus condemns the rich not because they're rich, but because they pride their money over, like, they aren't giving in the same way, in the same proportion that one woman who gave her shekels that she had.
Yeah.
Right? She gave more proportionally than what anyone else had. She gave all that she had to the church. And the rich in that area don't. They give exactly what is expected.
Yeah, right.
That's what he condemns them for. Not for having the money, but for not
you're right.
giving it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Matthew made a bunch of money being a tax collector, and he didn't use it in the right way.
Mm.
You know? He just had it for himself.
Do you think you can be a Christian then and vote for Kamala after she said that?
I think it's all about what you think is the greater or worse of two evils. I already don't want to vote for either of them. I don't plan on voting at all. Because it's not going to give me the country that I want no matter what. My mom and Scott don't believe that a gun buyback can happen because they've been trying to do it for 200 years. They haven't been able to do it yet. So my stepdad's like, we're fine. You know, they're not going to be able to do it. Which is kind of my one reason for being super against Kamala going in.
Yeah.
You know? I think if we had a woman president, like, I don't think there's something wrong with that. I think it's who the woman is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Kamala. Trump has done some questionable things, but he's the one who's spoken the most outwardly about Christ. He's also made the most on TV mistakes ever, you know, and that's what people judge him for the most, what he's done in the past, even though God, if he is saved, if Trump is saved, then God has already, you know, he's forgiven that. So we ought not hold that against him as well, right? Kamala, though, if she's not a believer, which it doesn't seem like she is by saying that, yeah, I don't know. I think that if you think that Trump isn't saved and he's doing all this as a publicity stunt, because it is a pretty good gig to, if you claim that God is on your side, you know, all the old people are going to vote for you.
Yeah.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So true.
Being almost assassinated 3 times or something, that'll get people to vote for you if you believe that that was his intention, right? It all comes down to intent, you know? If Trump was doing this all in like in the wrong heart posture, or like that was all planned, you know, and isn't actually saved, I would prefer if Kamala went in, because I don't want someone who schemes like that, you know? If it was schemed,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, you're saying a lot of things right now that, according to my conspiracy theories, like you don't want somebody who schemes. According to my conspiracy theories that I subscribe to very heavily,
Kamala's a schemer.
Kamala and Biden,
Definitely schemer. You're right.
They're huge. There's some huge red flags going on. They are very corrupt, extremely corrupt. They are against us. They are not for me. They are against me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If God is for us, who can be against me, though? You know?
They're trying to be against me.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. If God is for me, who can be against me? It's like we know who is trying to be against you.
Yeah.
Who thinks they are against you, but simply they're like ants. Satan is an ant to you when God is for you.
Yeah, he's a lion with no teeth.
A gummer.
He's a gummer.
No claws, no teeth. Yeah, you want to gum later?
No, dude. All right, this was interesting.
Don't end on that.
I'm ending, dude. I'm ending. You want final words?
If you don't like either of them, don't vote.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Vote, party line vote. Vote because you think you're Republican.
Vote for a third party or something if you don't.
There's no third party this time.
Ah, that's so lame.
JFK got, or what's his name? RFK. He's
on Trump's team now.
Yeah, so there's no third party to vote for.
Well, don't not vote. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm personally under the opinion that the election won't happen, so we'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. This was about the Passion of the Christ. I liked the movie a lot. I think it was a better portrayal, absolutely the best portrayal so far of the crucifixion and resurrection. I guess I never talked about this. The scenes where Jesus was being nailed to the cross, the hands that were holding the nails and swinging the hammer were Mel Gibson's hands. Like, he was out of frame. It was just the hands, right?
Right.
His hands that nailed him there. Mel wasn't sitting behind the camera. You know, he did himself. I think that's really awesome.
And he did, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, we all put him up there.
Yeah. Replace his hands with your own.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Cut.
What's up, guys?
Subscribe.
Yes.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you really enjoyed. I know we had a fun time making it. Please, if you really want to support us on Patreon, you will be getting the episodes a week ahead of time. So it's definitely worthwhile, or not. Just support us, just support us, please.
We need money. You guys can find us on all the podcast platforms, hopefully, by this point.
You will.
You will.
You will.
So Spotify, Apple.
All of them.
You know, I guess YouTube, but not really, you know.
And YouTube.
So find us there. Enjoy it. And if you don't, I will find you.
He found me.
Yeah. Amen. All right.
I think that's kind of it.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Off to Denny's.
That's a damn good. Yeah.